Last year, my boiler was leaking water out of the pressure release valve here. It was leaking water out of this pipe here. I had a bucket underneath, and for the longest time I couldn't figure out why. I just got in the habit of emptying the bucket every once in a while every time it leaked. So I decided to do some research, figured out why, and it's a free solution. It doesn't cost you anything to do. It's just a simple maintenance thing. Before you do any work on your boiler, it's important that you shut it off completely to make sure that it doesn't fire up while you're working on it. If you have an old boiler like I do, you may see something like this strapped to the ceiling. You may have one of two styles. This style that I have here is just an empty steel tank, or you may have a tank with a rubber bladder inside. You'll likely see one pipe coming into your expansion tank, and there should be a valve on it. Close that valve. Once the valve is shut off to the expansion tank is now separated from the rest of the system. Once you've shut off the valve to the expansion tank, look for another valve near the bottom. It will likely have the same thread on it that you'll find on your faucet outside for your garden. Once you find the outlet on the bottom of the tank, grab your garden hose from outside and thread it on. I keep a short length of garden hose in the basement for this purpose alone. Once you have your hose hooked up, grab a bucket. Once you have your bucket and hose all hooked up, you can then open the valve on the bottom of your expansion tank, and hopefully water will come out. If the water is slow to come out, or only a little bit comes out, look for another valve on top of the tank. This is an air valve that lets air into the tank. This will help the water flow more easily. You may have to empty your buckets a few times, as these tanks usually hold a lot of water. Once you've gotten all the water out, you can shut off the valve with the hose on it and shut off the air valve at the top. And finally, reopen the valve that leads into the expansion tank. As you're opening the valve, you'll likely hear the water rushing back into the tank, and that's okay. That's supposed to happen. Once you've closed your hose valve, closed your air valve, and opened the expansion tank valve, you can start up your boiler again and keep an eye on the pressure to see if this has solved your problem. Hopefully this has helped. Thanks for watching.